For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. We're starting the show and I'm laughing. I'm sorry. I have a really funny story. It happened moments, literally 35 seconds before we went on the air. First of all, thank you for tuning in on SoundCloud and iTunes. We appreciate that. And at thescribbleshow.com. Thescribbleshow.com. All right, my name is Jeremy Bradley. Oh, God, if this is the first time you're tuning into the show, I'm not normally like this, but all right. So here's what happens. Okay, we tape this show right after we do our top 40 syndicated show and our country music show, and sometimes I might have a glass of wine after each of them. so I'm getting ready. All right, we're reset. Right, the music's gone. We're ready to do the 30 minutes of talking on this show, and I have a glass of wine, and then my dog Basil comes in. And he's sitting there looking up at me just as they do that, right? You're sitting in your chair, they're looking up and they want you to either, pat the head, rub under their chin, whatever it is. And as I'm doing that, I then sort of burped, it was kind of like a burp / hiccup. And in that moment, because I wasn't really expecting it, it was sort of one that just came out of nowhere, I kind of a little bit spit out some of my wine. Like it kind of just, like a little pinhole in my mouth. It just, a little bit came out and it sort of went up his nose and then I also think in his eye. Now, I know it's really not funny because it's probably, burning the eye, whatever it is. So what happened was he then was starting to sneeze, of course, and then rub his face on the ground and kind of start rolling around. So that's why I was laughing. Now I feel bad, obviously, because it was an accident. It wasn't like I'm, purposely pouring wine in his eye, but it was just funny as reaction. And my dogs have never had booze before, so as they shouldn't, why would you give them booze? But certainly up the nose is apparently irritating to a dog, needless to say. All right, now I will tell you what's coming up on this show. I felt like I needed to explain that right off the bat because you're going to be like, why is this guy laughing in this show? Like, you haven't even done anything yet and you're already laughing. You're like Dr. Hibbert. You're laughing at the end of a sentence for absolutely nothing. Well, there was something funny that just happened moments ago. Anyway, all right, Celebrity Big Brother just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago on CBS, and Marissa Jaret Winokur won the show. And here's the thing. We had such a busy podcast last week with Nancy O'Dell from Entertainment Tonight and Arissa Cox from who did we have? Yes, it was Arissa Cox from Big Brother on the show because that just started on Global in Canada on Wednesday. We didn't have time to have Marissa, and we thought in the interest of timeliness, obviously, the Oscars preview with Nancy O'Dell was happening that weekend. And then with Big Brother Canada, starting, we ran those two segments, and we didn't have time for Marissa, so we're actually kind of putting her on the show this week. And when we mentioned that to a couple people on social media, and I feel bad because Marissa's a very nice woman, we had a very good chat, people were kind of like, well, first of all, it was D-listers on that show, and secondly, nobody cares now. And that's kind of the way television, yeah, it's television. That's the way television goes. It's no different than with The Bachelor wrapping up on, Tuesday of this week, where I don't even remember the names of the two girls that were in the end. We just have we just put them out of our minds so quickly. And what's interesting is that, you can spend an entire season watching, and then in the end, a week or two later, you're just like, who did he pick again? What? Now, obviously, this one was a scandalous season of The Bachelor, but what my point is that some people were saying, why would you run Marissa now when, the show's been over for a couple of weeks and it's kind of a done deal? Well, because she was a nice woman and entertaining to talk to, and that's why. And there's also a lot of Big Brother fans. We have Rachel Riley on our show. We've had Julie Chen on the show. We've had... I'm trying to think of some other big... Well, we have the Big Brother finalists every season. That's right. The past 2 or 3 seasons, we've chatted with the winner, the winner, the runner-up, and then the third place person on the show. So that's why we had Marissa. We taped an interview, and we're going to air that for you this week. I was supposed to talk about paying off a porn star, Stormy Daniels, but my wine up the dog's nose story took too much of our time. So if we've got time later in the show, I will... comment on the whole porn star thing, because you know what I'm talking about, right? Stormy Daniels, Donald Trump, it's fascinating, I think, anyway. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, Marissa Jaret Winokur, winner of Celebrity Big Brother, will be joining us right here on the Scribble.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Celeb spotting on the Scribble.
She beat Omarosa. Really, that's all we can hope for, right? Celebrity Big Brother winner Marissa Winokur joining us on the line to talk about the competition. Hello there.
Hello.
First off, congratulations on the win.
Thank you. I still don't believe it, so it's been a great week.
Well, let's talk about your time in the house, though. It was how many days away from your family?
I was 28 days away. 29 days away from my family, exact. Yeah. And I had never gone even more than 5 nights away from my son, so that was pretty hard.
See, but
and
for
he's 9.5, so it's been a long time since I took any time for myself, to be quite honest.
But that's the thing, though. For a lot of people, that's like a vacation away from family, and I'm getting paid for it? Come on. But no, you're close with your family, and that's great.
Yeah, I am, but I will say in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, it's so nice to not have to multitask and do all, the lunches and the homework and all that stuff. So there was no complaints in the beginning, but then you're like, oh, I miss my son. It was painful. So yeah. That's
the thing, moms, parents probably don't, especially moms too, right? I think my mom never had a day off. She might have worked 5 days a week at her job, but 7 days a week as a mom. Yeah. So now I have to ask then, have you watched the show back now? Have you seen the episodes?
Well, it's really interesting because, being in the house, it's one show, right? And then what CBS edits together and, has the straight stories together and you only have an hour episode is a different show. So I wasn't going to watch it because I'm like, I lived it, I don't need to watch it. But since I've been out of the house, so many people are talking to me about very specific things. And I felt like, oh, wait, you're talking about a show that I don't even know what you're talking about because I wasn't a part of that conversation. So I'm on episode 9. I keep trying to watch it and trying to figure out what's happening. There are some surprises. I definitely was like, oh, my God, Mark made an alliance with Omarosa? I didn't even know that, And I'll text Ross and go, Ross, did you know Mark had an alliance with Omarosa? And he's like, amazing. We both were just, dying, laughing because we didn't know half of what was going on. We thought we did,
Now, are you watching it, with your family? Because I'm sure, you're telling them, you've got other stories, like you said, to go along with the stories that are being shown on TV.
Yeah, I told my son he could miss a day of school and we would just sit and watch it, but then I got too busy, so I haven't let him do that yet. So I've been kind of just, going through it really fast, so I'm looking forward to actually sitting with him and telling him oh no, that's not really happened. Like, that Omarosa wink was not nearly as dramatic as I just witnessed when I watched it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I winked back at her, like, I was, because she was having an asthma attack. So it's a very interesting edit in the winking situation, or Omarosa was actually winking at me to stir up trouble. I never really know, quite honestly.
Well, and let's be honest, it was good TV.
Oh, we kept saying good TV, man. And there were times where Ross and I would look at each other and be like, you know we can't. And he goes, don't say it. I'm like, we can't get rid of it. And I was like, don't say it. Like, we knew that Omarosa had to stay because we wanted to be on a good TV show. And we knew, look, Ross and I have been in the business long enough to know, like, if Omarosa's on a reality TV show, we would watch it. So we definitely went as long as we possibly could, getting her to the final five, you know?
Now, do you think because it was Celebrity Big Brother that people weren't as vicious and conniving as the usual version of the show, right? If you've seen the other, the regular version of the show, it's really different. Were people on this season more, were they thinking about their public image more than gameplay?
I've watched, I'm a Big Brother super fan. I've watched every season, even the internet version of the over-the-top version. I've watched every season, so I definitely know how Big Brother is normally played, and they are much more vicious. That's why I actually won, because, to be honest, Ross was playing Big Brother, and I was playing Celebrity Big Brother. I knew you can't treat celebrities badly and that are going to go home and watch the videos, right? So I knew at the end of the day the jury was going home and watching the show rather than the normal jury that goes to the house and doesn't see you, backstabbing them. So I played a much cleaner game with that information in mind. I knew what was happening, so I was able to keep my hands clean and let Ross get really messy, and then that's why I won.
So that's the thing. So people were focused on the gameplay, not, okay, wait a second, once I'm out of the house, am I going to look like a jerk or a witch? It was all about the gameplay in that moment, though.
I mean, for some people, for me it wasn't. For me, I was like, I care. I think James was very aware of the audience and didn't want to come off as a bad guy. There were people that were definitely like, this will hurt my brand, this will hurt my, I'm not going to play an ugly game because I don't want to let my fans down, and that's pretty much, that's kind of why, where I play too. Like, I was like, I'm going to play with my heart because that's everything I always stand for and represent in my career, in my life, and as, a cancer survivor, like, I definitely had a different game plan going. I was like, if I can stay in this game and not really, destroy anybody, that's how I'm going to do it. Now, other people obviously weren't thinking that way, so it was two different games going on, and ultimately, that's why I won Celebrity Big Brother.
And I gotta say, that's where you disappointed me, Marissa. Come on.
Because I took Ross?
No, because you were too nice.
Oh, that's okay. I don't mind. I don't think people actually knew half my game. I when I'm watching the show too, when I'm watching the CBS show, I'm like, oh, the producers didn't even understand what I was doing. So, I mean, I think that's how good of a game I played. I went out last night with Brandy and Ari and Ross, and Brandy was like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yes, Brandy, I had a strategy. I was like, I knew what I was doing.
Now, there was talk about a female alliance, and I guess there was one, really. We see that on the regular Big Brother series. Why does it become a battle of the sexes? Like, what is it that the genders just suddenly rally together?
It happens, and I don't know, it happens on on Survivor, it happens as well.
Yeah.
And it always frustrates me at home going, like, why can't they just stick together? Why can't they just get the numbers? But the house shifts when someone else wins a challenge, so you kind of can't just stick with one group of 7. That's way crazy. I think it's when the numbers are 6 girls against 5 boys, that's a very easy, obvious alliance, right? Mm-hmm. I, of course, was in alliance with the girls of 6, and then we had Ross, and then I treated Ross like an equal, and other people weren't, so that's ultimately what made my decision easy to leave the girls' alliance, because Ross wasn't a girl, but I didn't care. It wasn't about his sex, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What was the deal? Okay, you mentioned the word sex. I'm going to take this another direction. What was the deal between Brandy and James? Maybe I'm wrong on this, but it almost seemed like there might have been sexual tension that first night. Do you think like she was trying to flirt with him at the beginning?
I don't know. You know what? I was watching that, and because I hadn't seen that at all. I didn't even know that they didn't like each other in the beginning. I didn't realize that was so prevalent. I went out with them last night. James joined in, and I was like, "Oh man, if James didn't have a girlfriend, I bet those two were going to hook up." But no, they didn't, and they're not going to. I don't think that will ever happen.
Okay, now so we have to talk about Omarosa. You know that. We know that. We saw everyone's faces when she arrived in the house. Was she what you expected though?
No, I mean I know there was a meme of me that I like made an audible "oh my god" when she walked on stage. I was terrified. It's interesting. She is a reality star. This was like her 36 something. Like honestly, like reality show. She was kind and sweet and nice, and as Omarosa, and then there was the other Omarosa that was like put on her show and gave her looks and gave her winks and scared you to your core. So, I mean, like, will the real Omarosa please stand up? Like, one was like, I'm going to make good TV, and the other one was like, let's talk about your son and let's talk about your life and families, and it was an interesting thing because on TV you don't see the change, but in person it was like two different people at all times. So there was one Omarosa that I would love to get to know, and then the other one I'm like, oh, I'd love to watch you on TV. If that makes any sense.
So going forward then, is she, somebody you're texting now? Are you guys going to be spending time together?
She does text me, yes. Look, we all spent a really unique amount of time together. I've gotten texts from every single person from the cast, and I was with Ross, and he's like, oh wait, I don't even have her number. I don't have his number. And I was like, yeah, that's why I won, because I'm still the hub. Everybody's still contacting me. And he's like, oh my God, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep in touch with everybody. It was a really unique experience. One day felt like 5 days. It was an insane, intense moment that only those 11 people involved will ever understand.
You ended up being really good friends with Ross in the end. I want to put you on the spot here. Let's say you're not in the game, but Ross is. What one thing are you changing about Ross's gameplay? What could he have done to win in the end? If you weren't there, what would you do for him?
Oh, easy. He needed to go into the diary room and not talk about people that weren't home because everybody was watching the show. If he did that, he would have won the game, no question. So that's it. He needed to be a little cleaner on his diary room sessions.
And I've got to ask you, what are you doing with the prize money? I know your son wanted something after the show, right?
Yeah, it's a warp wall from American Ninja Warrior. You know that big 14-foot wall that kids like climb up, and my son's gonna absolutely break his arm on it. But that's the thing that I have to buy him, and then my husband's already like putting it like in a safe place, and I want to spend it before he does any of that. He's like, it has to go into a college fund. It has to do this, and I'm like, no. I want to go on vacation. Don't do it yet. So, my husband's gonna be really smart with it, and he's gonna probably do it as fast as he can before I spend it on everything I can.
There you go. Well, look at this. Your son's already just balling. I mean, he is just a little celebrity, right?
He is. He like wore Meta's hat to school today, and you're not allowed to wear hats to school, but he still did. And and they let him wear it because it was Meta's, so it was fun. He's having a really good time.
And now I heard you wouldn't go on the show again. Is that true?
Well, you know what? I said that when I got out, and then within now we're 4 days out, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I would absolutely go back. I was just a little shell shocked when I got out. I kind of think I would. I'm having a hard time readjusting to my normal life, is the truth. So now I'm like, wait, I want to go back in and have no responsibilities. It was really easy.
You've got the shakes now. You've got to go back.
Oh, please. My agent was like, my PR agent was like, she's like, okay, I feel like you have Stockholm syndrome. You have to stop hanging out with the cast because the only time I've left the house is when I'm hanging out with people from the cast. She's like, it's enough now. I'm like, I know, I have to get back into my real life. It's been hard.
So aside from mingling with your new family, what's next for you then? What are you working on? What's happening?
Oh, everything now, because now I think people were like, oh yeah, we love you, you're funny. And now people are like, let's do this, let's do that, what can we develop? Whereas I was just as funny 6 weeks ago, but I think everyone forgot. So the good news is people are remembering again that I'm funny, so that's always nice. So I'm trying to strike while the iron's hot and get my hands into as many pots as I can.
Well, this is going to be one of those things like winning the lottery. You're going to have all those, long-lost cousins coming out of the woodwork and all these people who are suddenly related to you, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm for vacation. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to be watching everything that you're working on. Anything specifically you can tell us about?
No, because it's all good stuff. It's all it's going to be all development. But hopefully we'll know in the next week that I can say it out loud.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll be watching, I guess, your social media then, right?
Yes. All my social medias. I'm a 45-year-old woman, so I don't really quite understand how it works, but I'm good. My Instagram is awesome, so go there.
And now the great thing is you can pay somebody to do it for you. You know that.
I know, but I don't do that. I was the same way with Facebook. I'm really into my Facebook page, but, because I'm that generation.
Yeah.
And then, 6 months ago, someone's like, you need an Instagram page. And I was like, okay. And I'm really on Twitter a lot because I always, come up with fast, funny things. But then everyone's like, no, you got to use Instagram. And then people are like, I'll do it for you. I'm like, no, everybody will know I'm a very specific, unique person. I have to do it myself. So I do it all myself, and and it takes up too much time, but I love it.
Yeah, it's a good time. Well, again, congratulations on the big win, Marissa. Celebrity Big Brother champ.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll be watching for your latest projects.
Thank you. Have a great day.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. So just a quick update for you, at the top of the show, my dog obviously snorted wine because I kind of spit it up his nose. And if I guess you're not just tuning in. See, I always do that. The radio show, you can tune in halfway. The podcast, you kind of start at the beginning, right? So, as you heard, Basil got a bit of wine up the nose when I was petting him, and then I kind of hiccup/burped, and then a bit of wine sort of came out of my mouth. And he was sneezing and rolling on the carpet, and he's back now. He's forgiven me, it seems. And it's actually funny because I went to go pet him on the head, and he sort of put his head down as though, I got to close my eyes and put my head down. We're going to get him goggles when he comes into the studio when we're taping the show. But, yeah, don't send me letters. Again, it was an accident. It was a mistake. So, all right, at the top of the show I mentioned, or midway point, I had said about Stormy Daniels and the whole Donald Trump thing. I'm not offering up any sort of commentary on the news or anything like that. You have to admit, and I can say this because I'm Canadian, but you have to admit that this is one hell of a funny story. Of all people, to you just think that he would pay for prostitutes, not a porn star, and right? You know the stories about him. He talks about doing what he thinks that he says that he can do to women, and you gotta sort of realize that there are some women that would let him, or that would do things with him because they want things, they want money, right? They want a green card, they want citizenship, they want to live in a gold apartment, whatever it is, I don't know. So I realize that there are people, and there's men that would do that too in relationships, right? And so it's just kind of funny that you'd think that you could pay a prostitute a lot less. Let's just be honest here. I am not saying paying prostitutes or any sort of illegal activity, things like that, right? I'm not saying, but I'm making a joke here. This is being sort of sarcastic. Paying a prostitute would be much cheaper, from what I understand. I've never paid for sex, but right, if I'm not mistaken, you can probably get, you can have a good time for $20, maybe $100. I don't know, or at least I almost want to Google this right now. Can I just look up? I'm going to look it up on a work computer. Why not? I own this company. How much is an escort? I'm going to Google that right now. How much is an escort? I'm doing this, by the way. Yes, I'm doing it on the show here. Okay, I'm going to learn this as I'm talking to you, because I'm very unfamiliar when you want to talk prudish things. Oh, so you can get an escort by the hour or a full night. Okay, $250 per hour. Again, I'm just randomly Googling pages here, so I can't speak to their credibility on how much an escort goes for. $250 an hour. Okay, all right. So when you think of $130,000 to pay, now this was hush money. I'm not saying that he paid the porn star for that. We don't really know how much money was exchanged in that transaction for the actual deed, if it was in fact done, right? We always have to say allegedly, or else we'll get in trouble. But the hush money was $130,000. But how much did he actually pay her to get together, right? Now, again, this is a porn star. She has sex for money. Did he buy her things? Did anything come of that? Like, why was she with him? How did that happen? Now, maybe there was a story in the news that I've just missed and I didn't get it. But I'm sure you could get some low-profile hooker, prostitute is I know the name we have to use in news, but a hooker, it's just weird. Like, you'd get a porn star of all people. Now, again, that's where you could say they're more experts in the field. If that's the way you put it. I don't know. Just the whole thing is very strange. So yes, the hush money was $130,000, which also seems like just a very strange amount, a strange number. But I want to know how much the deed cost. And if he, in fact, didn't sign their... it wasn't a non-disclosure. Is that what it was? Or whatever it was, he didn't apparently sign, right? That's what's playing out in the news today. Then I think that she should be free to talk. And I would love to read that book. I would absolutely... There's a part of me... This is the weird, sick thing. And you've heard previously when she did an interview with a tabloid, or was it Us Weekly? When she did an interview, she talked about, like spanking him with a magazine with him on the cover and blah, blah, blah. I actually want... I'll put it... I want the blow-by-blow of I would read that. I would read that as a sex story. Not that I would be turned on. I don't know. I think it would be interesting. I think it would just be interesting as all hell. I want to know what his body's like. What is he? He talks about having, big hands or whatever it is. I want to know how big the dong is. I want to hear the scoop on Trump. If you are a woman who has had sex with the current president, send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com, and just speak your own free will. I won't even ask you questions. I just want you to just tell me, and I'll just read it. I just want to know. And no, I'm not going to get my jollies off on that. I think it would be fascinating to hear what it is. Yeah, live@jbonair. I'm not expecting to hear from anybody, so I'll just give you the address again, live@jbonair.com. Hey, we've got a message about Twitter right now.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter @The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Thank you very much, Larson. And then, so also my Twitter is @Jeremy D. Bradley, @Jeremy, Jeremy, the letter D, and then Bradley, Bradley. Now that The Bachelor's over, I'm not live tweeting any TV shows, but certainly follow along. There's some really fun things with my newspaper column and our daily entertainment headlines and Travel Tuesday, always from a new location every week, so that's really fun. @Jeremy D. Bradley. I am also, by the way, just recently on Instagram. We haven't really promoted it on any of our platforms, but I'm on Instagram @Jeremy D. Bradley again. So if you can't get enough of me on Twitter and on the radio and in your books and your newspaper and on your podcast, then follow me on Instagram as well. I'm not big into the social media thing. That's great. Hey, follow me. I'm not big into social media, but follow me anyway. That just kind of seems like the new thing is just to beg people to follow you. It doesn't matter to me. So, again, at Jeremy D. Bradley. My thanks to Marissa Jaret Winokur. It's hard to say that. Try that 5 times fast. Marissa Jaret Winokur, Celebrity Big Brother champion. Thanks for joining us. And again, you can go to speakfreecelebwatch.com. SpeakFreeCelebWatch.com for all of our celebrity guests that we've had here on the show. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a Speak Free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,